This engine that I got on this MasterCraft, it is the I don't know, LQ7 or something. I'll post exactly what engine it is, but it's the Inmar 5.7, but it's the closed loop system. So it has like the extra, radiator in it. So it, you can operate it like in brackish water or salt water, I suppose, if you want. And so it's slightly different than a lot of the just completely freshwater systems. So on here, they have this little sacrificial anode, and this is how like you drain out the antifreeze or what have you, coolant, I guess, not antifreeze. And so if you're looking at the engine, the little cap is right down in here. So, and then on the other side is the knock sensor, and I replaced that actually, and that is right there. So it basically has that same, thread pattern to it. And I'll leave a link in the description. I think it's 5/8 inch NPT. I'll leave a link. But I had a little check engine light, and I thought it might have been that knock sensor, and it was pretty fouled up. And they're not that expensive, but like 35 bucks. So I replaced that knock sensor. Little check engine light is gone now. But there is some gunk. This was just pure water, and you can see the flakes inside of there. So I'm gonna double check that I can do this. I think I can. I'm gonna put that Barnacle Buster stuff in there, 4-to-1 ratio, and then run it. And it says you should like let it sit like I don't know, 6 to 12 hours or something like that. So I'm going to double check with the manufacturer that this is okay to do that through the closed loop system, because I'm just not happy with the color of this freaking water right here. And then supposedly you can actually rerun that Barnacle Buster stuff as long as the pH stays up or what have you. So that's the plan. Is we're going to do that and then run it, and then that might keep the engine from overheating or what have you, running more efficiently. So I'm going to replace this plug. I actually did order a new anode for this plug. You can see like it's like hollow right there, and that's where that sacrificial anode goes into. So it'll attack the anode before it attacks your steel, iron, steel, whatever components that the actual engine is made out of. So it's sacrificial. And then this guy obviously did not replace this. So I'm doing that, and hopefully this thing will run. It actually runs pretty good, turns over no problem. I did take out the thermostat, which the thermostat is located right there on the engine. Yeah, so here's that water, and there's no coolant in there. That's all fresh water from the hose. All the coolant was drained out. And then here's that Barnacle Buster. I mean, it says it's safe, non-toxic, biodegradable, secure, etc. And down here it says that it removes calcium, rust, lime, and all other mineral deposits. So I got to call in to TRAC, TRAC. I think that's the company that makes that Barnacle Buster. And just to make sure, because I don't want to put this thing inside that closed loop engine and mess it up. So here is the water that came out of the back there, and that looks like it's doing okay. I mean, that looks a heck of a lot better than the closed loop stuff. So, which kind of is like weird to me, because I thought the whole purpose of having the closed loop system was to separate any seawater or any brackish water from getting into the closed loop system. Yeah, I don't understand that at all. So I do want to clean that out for sure. And I did read the instructions. You should let it sit for like 6 to 12 hours. So I'm going to let it sit to 6 to 12 hours for sure. And then I also took out the thermostat. Some of that stuff Some of that stuff is gasket maker, I think. Yeah, it probably is gasket maker. But I think it's about time to get a new thermostat anyway. So I'm going to go down to the parts store and get that thermostat as soon as I hear back from the Barnacle Buster people. Turn it on. Turn it off. Okay, so that's that first flushing right there, and take a look at that gunk, man. I mean, it's definitely some gunk in there. I mean, maybe you can see some of those solids or something in the bottom. So let's go ahead and pull that tub out. Oh yeah, look at that, man. So that is just like super nasty. Definitely it's doing something in there, and it probably obviously has some like calcium and lime and, you know, rust build up inside of there, so it's doing its job. I let that sit for about 6 hours or so. I'll figure out the exact time, but it's roughly about 6 hours. And I ran it for a little while and then stopped it, and I ran it for a little while and then just stopped it and let it sit for like 6 hours completely full. And it was at the 4-to-1 ratio of that Barnacle buster. So sorry, I'm a little out of breath. I was getting up and down in there, you know, changing that crap out. So I went ahead and I refilled the radiator area, the closed loop system, with water, just fresh water again. And I'm going to run the boat right now just to kind of like, you know, circulate the fresh water inside of there, maybe do a second clean out just with fresh water. And then tomorrow I'm going to do a second round of that Barnacle buster, because I bought like a whole gallon or a whole liter. I think it's a gallon. And so I have, I don't know, 40% left or something like that. So I'm going to use the rest of that in there and do like another 6 to 12 hour, probably closer to a 12 hour, 10, 12 hour cycle, just to get rid of any remaining gunk, and then flush it out yet again and see like what the differences are. So I'll keep you guys updated. Okay, so where we left off is we ran the first run through of Barnacle buster. It was in the engine for about 6 or 7 hours, and then drained it, and you guys saw how bad that looked. So I went ahead and I refilled the internal system here, the closed loop system, just with regular tap water, and then ran it for around 10 or 15 minutes just right now with the fake lake as well hooked up. And then so now we're going to drain it on the, I guess, the clean flush, the water flush, and see what it looks like. Okay, so as you can see, that big rush came off when I took off the radiator cap, and it is definitely still goopy. Let's look what it looks like underneath there. Yeah, so I'm going to do another flush yet on here, and it's definitely a different color. It's more kind of like gray than it is like dark brown. So that might be some of the the anode that was in there. The guy that had me before it didn't change out the anode at all, so it like probably deteriorated all the way down to nothing. It did deteriorate down all the way to nothing. So I'm guessing that might be some of that garbage in there. But we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put some more of the Barnacle buster in there again and let it sit basically all day again. And hopefully we'll do that flush a couple more times, and hopefully that will result in a better system here. Let's take a look at the actual fins in there in the radiator part. I'm not sure how well you can see that or not, but looks like it's getting like a little cleaner. It's getting like a little cleaner. But I know it's getting cleaner because there is junk coming out of there. So to the extent of how much it's being cleaned and how much it's not, it's got to be something. Something's working. So here we go again. Hey, I just wanted to give you guys a little shot at this. This stuff has settled down a little bit, and look at that goop in there, man. All that crap was in my radiator, and it's still settling. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that's probably like some of that anode in there, and probably some other corrosion and maybe lime and rust deposits and calcium in there. Let me know what you think in the comments as to what that could be. I'm sure it's just a lot of gunk. I mean, this thing is 21 years old. It's a 2003. I bet you it's never been flushed before. So, but that's literally like 5 minutes just settling out that crap. So let's just pull out. Yeah, it's the same kind of thing going on in there. A bunch of goop. So, and then I cleaned out that little anode hole, and it's got stuff in there. Okay, so we're back for the second flush or emptying of the Barnacle Buster stuff. And so we had the first Barnacle Buster was in there for about 6 hours. Then I, emptied it. You guys saw it. It was like crazy brown. Then I put in just regular water, ran the engine for a little while, and then emptied it, and it was like kind of gray. And then I put in the Barnacle Buster now for about another 7 hours, 8 hours now. So this is the second treatment of Barnacle Buster. So let's see what it looks like. All right, so definitely a lot of goop underneath there again, and this bottle is looking brown again, so not the kind of clear colored. So there's that brown goopish stuff as well. So I mean, it looks like it's Whew, smells nasty. I mean, it looks like it's doing its job. So I'm gonna try to fill it up again with just regular water and kind of just keep on flushing it that way and see what happens. Okay, so it's the next morning, and I let this stuff sit overnight. This is the second cleaning with the Barnacle Buster, and it's kind of like brownish again. The first one was brownish, really dark brown and muddy. The second one with just water was gray, and then this one is also brown. So I'm guessing it has some kind of like, you know, reaction for the amount of acidity or whatever in the Barnacle Buster, which is probably like the, you know, active ingredient or whatever that makes it clean or get rid of the rust and scale and scum and stuff. So I rigged up a little test because I want to see what's inside here. It just looks, you know, dark brown. So I rigged up a little test here. This is just a coffee filter, and then I have just a piece of cut off 4-inch pipe, and I'm going to pour this stuff in there slowly to see, and let it drain off to see what, if anything, it catches. Oh, I can already see some junk in there. So I'll just do this off camera real quick, and then I'll come back and show you guys. Okay, so I had to drain this thing out, and it's still draining really slow. So I think that the little particles are kind of like filling up the coffee filter. I know it's not like a totally scientific thing, but I think it's like working. So that's what it looks like now, and I drained a lot of the excess water out of here. Sorry, trying to do this two hands. One hand. So there is quite a lot of gunk. I mean, look at that rolling off of there. You know, maybe I'll kind of like just let that sit a little bit more. But it's definitely, you can see all the particles coming off of it, and you can see that the filter itself is pretty bad. So I'm going to take this filter and put it off to the side. All right, so I'm gonna let that dry. You can't really tell right now just because it's wet and it looks like it's like, you know, has a shadow or whatever. It's dark in there because it's wet. So I'm gonna let it dry, but it's definitely catching a lot of goop out of there. So that Barnacle Buster stuff is for sure, you know, working. I think it's doing what it's supposed to do, and it definitely has removed a ton of stuff. So let's go up now to the boat, and we'll remove the second amount of just fresh water that's been sitting in there overnight. Okay, so I'm switching to the other side of the boat right now. We're gonna drain the second just clear water that's been sitting in the closed loop system overnight. I did run it the engine a little while yesterday just to kind of mix it up in there. I'm switching to this side because there's actually two ports, I guess you would call it. One is kind of like the sacrificial anode port, and that's on the passenger side in an American boat. And then there is one also, a drain port on the driver's side, but that's actually where the knock sensor goes. And I actually did replace the knock sensor. So I got to take out the knock sensor. That's why it looks a little different right now. Okay, but we're going to do the same thing. So that's the knock sensor. That just pops right off, very easy. And that's brand new. So it's the same size threads and everything right there. And I'm just gonna remove it and then see what gunk comes out of there. Okay, so I'm like super happy that I did this side of the engine too. I had a suspicion that, you know, some of the gunk was kind of like settling on this side as well, that I should do both sides. So here's that knock sensor. This is brand new, and it had some stuff, some junk on the top of there that you guys saw me clean off with the rag. And then obviously you saw what splashed out of there. So that's no good, no bueno, no bueno. So let's go and take a look at that. I can already tell you right now that it is the gray stuff again. So there was like some, probably like that, you know, sacrificial anodes and stuff. Oh yeah, look at that. I mean, it's already starting to separate from that to there. And then, you know, if I let that sit just even like a half an hour or something, that stuff will all settle down to the bottom. So for sure, that needed to be cleaned in there for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and flush it just with some water. And oh yeah, look at it. See, I just agitated it and it's all that gunk in there. So I'm thinking that's the anode parts of it, you know, the sacrificial parts, I hope. Because the engine, I mean, you know, knock on wood, it runs fine. So I'm hoping this is sacrificial stuff and I got to it in time, because I do have another anode to put in there for it to be sacrificial. And these motors, I'm kind of brand new to the scene, but I did read the manual it's a 2003 ProStar 197, but they're all the same, I think, for this range. The computer will tell your engine to bog down if it's too hot. So if it's too hot in there and all of a sudden you're like getting like less performance and stuff like that, it'll that's the problem. It could be one of the problems, is that the computer, it's designed as a safety mechanism to slow the engine down in order for it to cool off enough. So I'm super happy I did that. I mean, just I've been talking to you, look at that. So all those are like particulates, and all that stuff in there, those particulates, that will reduce the efficiency of your cooling system, so you can't have that in there. So far so good. I hope that this is working. You know, like I said, knock on wood, this motor is actually running pretty well. I think that from the evidence, I mean, some stuff is coming out of there for sure. I mean, it's self-evident. So I'm not like a chemist or anything, but it looks like it is working and it's doing what it's supposed to do. So I'm going to flush it with fresh water at this point in time, clear it all the way out, and then I'm going to call it. Well, maybe I'll run it again and then I'll flush it again just with fresh water, just to see what happens without doing the barnacle buster in between. I think I'll just do that one more time with the cycle, and then I'll put in the coolant, because I mean, you know, how many more times am I going to do this? I think I got the majority of it out. So one more time. Oh yeah, it's getting a lot cleaner now, guys. See the water, the clarity of the water? That's much better. So I'm just running it through there. Maybe I'll do the other side real quick too. Okay, that's the other side. Again, just running fresh water, you know, through the top here, just, you know, tap water from the garden hose. And yeah, I think that's pretty good. So I'm happy with that. I'm just gonna put fresh water in there again, gonna run the system with the fake lake, and then flush it one more time, just one more time. So I just kind of wanted to be like, you know, as thorough or, you know, scientific as possible with this stuff, and also to make the engine, you know, run. So I probably wouldn't have done this so many times if I had owned the boat forever, but I literally just bought it last October, and I'm getting it ready for the Ohio season, which is coming up. It's May now. So, okay, so one more time. Okay, so this is after the second water flush, and this is the stuff that basically came out of the driver's side port where the knock sensor is located. So, sorry, I hope that wasn't blurry. So I decided to do that little coffee filter test. I'm going to pour this stuff out into the coffee filter and see how it goes. Okay, so this is the coffee filter that was filtered with the second run of the Barnacle Buster. And I mean, you can see that it does have some I don't know, brownish type of staining to it, and it does have some of the gray stuff around there too. I don't know if you can see that, but like clearly there's the brown, and then it has like light colored kind of gray marks as well. So I'm kind of thinking that the light brown stuff is you know, maybe the chemical reaction with the Barnacle Buster, and then, you know, maybe that actually did like loosen up some rust particles and stuff that might be in there. So I'm happy that happened. And then the other stuff that's like whitish could be, you know, some like calcium, lime, you know, that just kind of like typical buildup that you get inside of a radiator. And maybe some of the people in the past, they just put in regular tap water into there instead of that other kind of water. What's it? Dehumidified water, you know. So maybe that just had some natural minerals and stuff in there that the Barnacle Buster like broke up. So I don't know. I'm gonna save this. I may or may not send it out to a lab to find out what part it is or what particles are in there. So we'll see. So I got this one, and then I also have the other coffee filter out there that had all of the just the wash in there, so it's all like the light gray stuff. So we'll definitely compare the two for sure. Okay, so I got that last bit of gunk out of the clean water flush on the second one, and it's the silver stuff. And man, take a look at this. It is all kinds of crap. I mean, it's a lot in there. I filtered it through a coffee filter. Let me show you. So, I mean, it's pretty goopy. That's a lot. I mean, look how much stuff there is. You know, that's a lot of stuff. So, I got this little part of the container. I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to get that stuff tested. And I don't know what that is. I mean, it might turn out just to be like calcium or something. Or, I mean, it could be like all the sacrificial anodes and stuff in there over time. But in any event, all that crap was inside the cleaning system, and that's after the fourth flush. So I mean, I'm super happy that I decided to do that. I'm going to post this video. If I did something wrong, or if you guys think that this is unusual, or take your best guess as to what the stuff is, let me know in the comments.